Hi, and thank you for joining The Road to Recovery. I'm your host, Ronda Jackson, serial entrepreneur and small business advocate. And today we are in the world of money. And I thought no better than our expert, Miss Brenda Hammond. She is the founder and business manager of Positive Results Management. Thank you for joining us today, Brenda.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very
Pleasure.
welcome. So will you share the oodles of expertise in just a few words about positive results management, please?
Basically, my firm is a business management firm. We specialize in small business. My expertise and background is I am a CPA and an MBA, but I specialize in helping small businesses save money, make more money, and utilize their staff more efficiently so that the money that they generate is not used to pay bills, but to provide for their family, their future, and for other operations of the business that will keep them viable for generations.
Okay, very good. And see, we appreciate that service. And there is such a sense of urgency about our conversation today because tomorrow, well, you tell us what's happening tomorrow.
Tomorrow, all the tax deadlines come due.
Okay.
No March 15th, no April 15th. Everything is due tomorrow. Personal, business, anything that you got your little 4-month extension, it is time to pay and file now.
Okay. And so, but in our earlier discussion, you said there's a distinct difference between those two, right?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
You can file an extension. An extension is an extension of time to file. It is not an extension of time to pay. So
Okay.
when you file your extension, you need to pay the tax that's currently due.
Okay, so I don't know why you tuned in or why you're with us today, but if you don't take anything else from this conversation, please listen closely to the things that Brenda's going to share to help you run a more efficient and effective and a more profitable business. So again, I can't thank you enough for being here today, Brenda. You and we also talked about with all of the changes that have happened in the world since March up until now, and then still more change. So a lot of counties and communities across the world are reclosing now, right? And there were some programs and things that were available. And in our discussion, you said that there were some really important changes to some of those programs. Do you mind sharing a little more about that?
No problem. Most people will probably hear the acronym PPP, which stands for Payroll Protection Program. And what we're hearing about is not just getting this and becoming a grant, but the fact that a lot of small businesses and Black businesses in particular, minorities, were not getting them. And they were going to the big giant companies instead of coming to the small communities they were meant for, which is typical. So for those of you who did get the PPP loans and did get through, the ratio of making sure that you have a grant and not a loan was 75% payroll, 25% bills. We have gotten relief. It is now 60% payroll that you pay and 40% the bills. If you establish that criteria, the money that you received is now a grant.
Lovely. With grant meaning we do not have to pay it back.
You do not have to pay it back. However, you must apply for the grant. Let them know exactly what you paid and be prepared to back it up with your payroll forms, which will prove that you actually paid people. They're not going to take your word for it.
You're not going to take your word for it. And then you also mentioned something about the status of where that loan goes on your tax return. I know we're a little premature to have that discussion, but we do have to claim that money, even though
I'll tell you, to be honest, they rolled out the program, they started throwing the money out, and then we're like, well, what are we supposed to do with it? Because at the time you get it, it's a loan. So consider it a liability.
Okay.
And have your accountant do so until the point where you file the grant papers, and then it turns into a grant, and then file it like a grant. But and it will not be income to you, but you have to make sure that you keep it as a loan at first until you find out the status of it.
Got it.
And that's just the PPP. There are other loans out there that you can apply for, and we'll probably get into those later.
Okay. All right. No, thank you for that, Brenda. So that was some clarity. But then there were some other things. And I mean, our conversation, I wish we had time to go over everything because maybe we'll just have to have you back a few times. But one of the things is, you touched on learning from lockdown, and that really stuck in my head, right?
Yes, lockdown. What happened to us in lockdown? No, it had nothing to do with having to teach our kids, which we know we have to do anyway. It had nothing to do with the bad food and drink habits that we had, or the fact that our dogs didn't want us to walk them anymore. The problem that we learned from lockdown is that we were not prepared. The savings we didn't have when we weren't sure if we were going to get a check.
Yeah.
The fact that we didn't qualify for unemployment compensation because we decided to pull money from our corporations and from our businesses as loans and not payroll. So we were deficient in the amount of unemployment we paid in to the EDD, and we couldn't apply for it. And even if we did, we only had 1,000, 2,000 available as opposed to the maximum. You know, those are some issues. Were we prepared for the disability we would have needed to use if we would have got COVID and we would have been in the hospital for a little while? What would happen to us? Could we afford it? What happens to your children? Did you have health insurance to cover it? You know, and not just for ourselves, not just for officers, but what about your employees that work with you and for you for years? What you do affects them.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that under lockdown, we need to learn from these lessons.
Yes.
The key question that I've been asking business owners that are on the show did COVID, did pandemic, did civil unrest cause the problems in your business, or did it amplify the problems in your business?
It amplified. And what I'm hoping that the word cause turns into an action item.
Yes.
This is what I need to do now, not when it's over, because I don't feel like this pandemic's going to be over for a few years. We need to be prepared as business owners to take care of ourselves, just like assuming that we had a job before, just like we let that big company take care of all our needs, take care of our vacation, and take care of our insurance and our health insurance, and take care of all of our little woes if we need it, and our retirement. We need to step up and be our own employer, our own boss.
So let's talk about that for a second. You know, how do we prepare for uncertainty? What are some, maybe 2 or 3 things that, you know, every business owner, just from using the pandemic as an example, that every business owner should be concerned about starting today?
First of all, a savings plan, a savings account. If you think of it like this way, when you have a condominium or you're in a planned development unit in your housing area and you have the gate and the security guards, they have you pay a fee every month, and it's your homeowners association fee.
Yes.
You know what that fee is for? If the pool breaks, if someone runs into the fence, if you need a new roof, well, you have to plan for your personal life and your business the same way. You don't have to put thousands of dollars away a month, but if you pay yourself, or even if you get payroll, whatever you get, and you use direct deposit, you can use more than one account, and you can put as little as $5 to $25 away a month or a paycheck, and you won't even notice it. That will grow and grow and grow, and boom, that's a savings that will not hurt you, hurt your bottom line. The other thing you need is a backup plan.
Okay.
And let's look more from
a backup business plan, a backup marketing plan, a backup
Now, the first thing I would say is you do need a backup marketing plan, because I don't know how many people were available and ready, but the number of people that were on Twitter and Instagram and any form of social media, TikTok was a marketing dream come true.
Yes.
And so now the marketing backup plan is perfect. It was a great answer, because if you were prepared or you had a person that you were already paying, all they had to do was focus, find your market and your niche, and find those people and find new clients that way. You also need a backup plan for rent. You still had to pay rent. You need a backup plan. You still needed to cover your health insurance, but you had no income. So your backup plan is, where was my reserve? Where's my financial reserve?
Okay, I like that. One of the things you touched on in one of our earlier conversations was also about business structure.
Yes.
So in the reassessment of our businesses, can you speak a little bit about looking at how we're structured?
Yes, most people, and this is not negative at all, but we listen to other people, and that's what you're supposed to do when you start. Listen to people who failed and listen to people who've done well. But I keep hearing the word LLC thrown around for everything. But there is more than one form of business. There's corporations, S corporations, sole proprietor, LLCs. Let your attorney help you decide the form of business that's right for your business. And that structure will determine how you make decisions, how you run your business, and things you're allowed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the key things that I hope people get from this pandemic is to find a way to pay yourself by employee. Like a corporation, you're an employee of your own corporation. Get a W-2. And then you have the rights and benefits you have when you work for someone. You have disability, you have unemployment. You're putting into your Social Security the proper way.
Yes.
And the safe way, as opposed to having to do it yourself. You have a cash flow shortage, which you have now. The first thing you start dropping is insurance, savings, and all the things you need, especially if for some reason the pandemic.
Yeah, and we'll continue the need. Thank you for that, Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
So then what I really heard you say was that as entrepreneurs, whether we're emerging, trying to reach established, or established, trying to go into overdrive, there's a lot that we don't know. We know our trade, we know our craft. So I feel like that there's a resource that needs to be tapped into there. Yes.
Most certainly. Matter of fact, you need to use your professionals. The professionals are there for you. You have insurance agents, CPAs, you have attorneys, and sometimes attorneys are expensive. So you have paralegals who can do some of the same things. You have engineers. Do what you do the best. If you're the best salesperson, you go out and sell.
Yes.
And you let your CPA do your books and records and your taxes and handle your finances. When you bought a house, you didn't say, I'm going to read a book and figure out how to get this house. You went to a real estate agent, right? When you went and got your insurance, you had to go find an insurance agent to get the right insurance for you. And you should do the same thing for everything. Don't listen to people, talk to an attorney. I definitely say have an attorney, that meet one that you can kind of call and feel. And a lot of your CPAs also, we have to learn business law. Know a lot. So use those resources. That's what they're there for.
That's what they're there for. I appreciate that. So, I mean, I heard you say that this tax extension, if we haven't or aren't prepared to file, but do pay whatever the pay unto Caesar what is due to Caesar.
That's right.
Right? And then our PPP ratios, for those of us that took advantage of the PPP loans, to be aware that the 60-40 is now available. And then the lessons learned from lockdown. So really take a minute to re-examine our businesses and to be honest. And, you know, where is it? Lie in thy truth, right?
That's right.
The areas that should have been addressed maybe a little bit better could be shored up by the help and use of professionals like yourself and attorneys and other accountants. So if other than filing our extension / tax return tomorrow, is there anything else that you would recommend for an emerging or an established business owner to do like today?
I would definitely say start jotting down thoughts and ideas like your initial business plan and do it for the future. We are in an uncertain world right now and we don't know what's going to happen. So start planning for it. You're not going to lose your business, and let's not go there. Let's be positive and let's make sure we keep our businesses work together, and stay open together.
Yes, I like that. Stay open together. Thank you so much, Brenda, for just laying down so much knowledge and insight for us today. We really, really appreciate that. And we hope that we can extend the invitation today for you to come back on the show on the other side of our tax return and maybe get some deeper into some of those discussions and the points that you brought up today.
No problem.
All right. Thank you, Brenda. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
And for those of you that this is your first time on the show, please like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know that when we're ready to bring you more information, more insight, more expert interviews like Ms. Brenda Hammond, then you'll be aware of those things. Thank you for joining us on the road to recovery.